Did you know there are animals preserved so perfectly that they look like they simply fell asleep yesterday, despite having died tens of millions or thousands of years ago? When a creature dies, nature usually reclaims it. The body decomposes, scavengers strip the flesh, and the bones eventually turn to dust or fossilize it to stone. For the vast majority of prehistoric animals, a faint impression in sedimentary rock or a scattered skeleton is the absolute best-case scenario. But for a select, incredibly lucky few, the Earth had entirely different plans. There is something profoundly haunting about looking into the face of a creature that has been dead for 40,000 years and still being able to see its eyelashes, the texture of its wet nose, or the soft fur on its belly. This does not happen under normal conditions. It requires an environment that halts time itself, freezing animals completely. Whether they are entombed within the golden embrace of tree resin or locked in the frigid grip of the Siberian permafrost, these animals were stopped dead in their tracks. They remain frozen in a state of eternal suspension. These mummified relics provide an unparalleled window into the deep past. They give us a glimpse of blood, skin, organs, and last meals. They reveal secrets that bones alone could never tell. Today, we're exploring 6 prehistoric animals that were found perfectly preserved in time. The details of their discoveries are deeply fascinating, and the science behind their preservation is mind-bending. Let us start with a truly unbelievable discovery from the summer of 2018. Deep in the heart of Yakutia, local people were scouring the thawing permafrost for mammoth tusks. Instead of ivory, they stumbled upon a tiny, mud-covered lump of brown, frozen old animal fur. When researchers carefully washed away the dirt, they were met with an unbelievable sight. Staring back at them was the perfectly preserved face of an 18-year-old canine. This was not just a skeleton. This pup had its velvety nose, delicate eyelashes, soft paws, and even a full set of tiny milk teeth still resting comfortably in its gums. Researchers named him Dogor, a word that translates to friend in the local Yakut language. Dogor was remarkably well preserved because he died in a location where the ground rapidly froze and never thawed again. This encased his small body in an icy tomb that completely protected him from predators and bacteria. What makes Dogor deeply fascinating is not just his pristine condition, but his mysterious genetics. After extensive sequencing, scientists realized they couldn't clearly classify this creature at all. He sits exactly on the evolutionary dividing line. Dogor might be one of the earliest known ancestors of the modern domesticated dog, a late Pleistocene wolf, or perhaps a transitional link between the two. The fact that a creature from the peak of the last ice age is so intact that you could literally pet its soft fur is entirely staggering. Our next discovery is just as breathtaking. While we have found several mammoths over the centuries, few are as completely flawless as Luba. Discovered in 2007 by a reindeer herder in the Yamal Peninsula of Russia, Luba is a 1-month-old female woolly mammoth who died over 41,000 years ago. When she was found resting on the icy banks of a cold river, she looked like a modern elephant calf that had merely lain down for a quick nap. Her preservation is so immaculate that her skin and trunk are perfectly whole. Even the tiny patches of hair on her cheeks remain completely intact today. But the real discoveries happened when scientists looked inside her body. A scan revealed that her internal organs were perfectly preserved, right down to her heart and liver. They even found her mother milk resting inside her stomach, alongside traces of adult feces which baby mammoths ate to establish healthy gut bacteria. How did she remain so pristine? Scientists believe she drowned in a muddy bog. The thick mud sealed her off from oxygen, and bacteria in the clay produced lactic acid, effectively pickling her body before the permafrost froze her solid forever. Looking at Luba is almost tragic. She is so lifelike that her sudden muddy demise feels as though it just happened yesterday. She remains one of the most significant specimens ever found, acting as a flawless biological time capsule for curious modern scientists everywhere. Moving on to another astonishing discovery, in 2020, reindeer herders working on a desolate island in the New Siberian archipelago made a terrifyingly detailed find. Melting permafrost revealed the entirely intact carcass of a massive extinct cave bear. Until this exact moment, scientists had only ever found the scattered bones and skulls of this colossal ancient species. But here was a full adult bear with its menacing teeth, soft black nose, and thick, coarse fur. The carbon dating revealed that this scary apex predator died approximately 39,000 years ago. The cave bear was a monstrous creature, significantly larger than modern grizzly bears, and it roamed the open Eurasian landscapes before mysteriously vanishing about 15,000 years ago. What makes this specific frozen bear so deeply disturbing is the sheer level of detail. Its internal organs are all still securely in place after thousands of long years. The muscles, the tissue, and the intricate network of blood vessels are perfectly preserved inside the frozen beast. If you were to walk past it in the snow, you would genuinely believe it was merely a sleeping animal. The harsh freezing conditions of the isolated island acted as a giant natural freezer, putting the giant bear's decomposition on a permanent pause. Scientists are currently analyzing its brain and extracting its DNA, hoping to understand exactly what drove these magnificent, fearsome beasts to total extinction. It's a terrifyingly beautiful reminder of the giants that once ruled our world. In 2018, within the dark depths of the Bataiga crater, a massive permafrost depression in Siberia, often called the gateway to the underworld, scientists made another incredibly rare discovery. They found the frozen mummified remains of a small prehistoric baby foal that belonged to an extinct wild horse species bloodline. This specific horse trotted across the frozen steppes over 42,000 years ago. The tiny foal was just 2 weeks old when it tragically drowned in a mud pool that later froze solid. When paleontologists gently cleaned the specimen, they were completely shocked. The dark brown coat, black mane, and tail were preserved perfectly, looking shiny and soft. Its internal organs were untouched, and its hooves were perfectly sharp. But the most shocking revelation came when researchers attempted to extract samples from its internal vessels. They discovered actual liquid blood still inside the heart and blood vessels. That's 42,000-year-old liquid blood flowing freely. The muscle tissues maintained their natural reddish color. The finding was immediately hailed as a miracle of paleontology. The discovery of liquid blood sparks intense debates and ethical questions about the very real possibility of cloning ancient extinct animals today for science. With DNA preserved in such pristine condition, scientists have actively discussed resurrecting the extinct horse, literally bringing a species back from the dead. Not all perfectly preserved animals are found in the ice. Sometimes nature uses a different medium, like golden tree resin. In 2016, a paleontology team examining pieces of amber in a market in Myanmar made a discovery that forever changed our understanding of dinosaurs. Encased in a chunk of amber no larger than a dry apricot was the 99-million-year-old tail of a baby dinosaur. This was not a pterosaur or an ancient bird. It was a non-avian theropod, a tiny feathered dinosaur that lived during the mid-Cretaceous period. The preservation is nothing short of miraculous. The amber captured the three-dimensional structure of the tail, including bones, flesh, skin, and most importantly, its original ancient dinosaur feathers perfectly intact. The thick resin flowed over the baby dinosaur while it was still alive or freshly deceased, trapping it in an airtight seal that completely prevented any decay. The resin then slowly hardened into amber, preserving the microscopic details of the feather barbs. Looking at this tiny, delicate tail is a surreal experience. It bridges a massive gap of nearly 100 million years, turning abstract bones into a tangible feathered animal. Finally, in the freezing village of Belaya Gora in northeastern Siberia, ivory hunters digging through a permafrost tunnel in 2018 stumbled upon a small, fragile lump. It was an ancient bird later identified as an ancestor of the modern horned lark species today. This tiny flying creature died 46,000 years ago, yet its body is so impeccably preserved that it looks like it just fell out of the sky on a cold winter morning. Every single feather is intact, its beak is pristine, and its delicate little claws are perfectly sharp. The bird was likely caught in a sudden freeze or buried by a rapid mudslide that quickly froze, preventing any predators or microbes from reaching it. By studying its genetics, scientists discovered that this specific bird is a direct ancestor to two different subspecies of larks alive today, one in northern Russia and one in the Mongolian steppe. Finding a bird in permafrost is exceptionally rare because their bodies are extremely small, their bones are very hollow, and they typically decompose or get eaten almost immediately. This frozen lark provides a completely unique scientific puzzle piece today for us all. It helps in understanding how species evolved and migrated during the drastic climate changes of the Ice Age. It's a stunning, delicate relic from a forgotten world.